Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Conversations with Beatrice. I am truly grateful you're listening to this today. And if you've listened to our previous episodes, you see that we started talking about what it means to come from a broken home. And even just that conversation alone can stir up so many emotions. Things you thought you had moved past, things you didn't even realize were still there. And today I want us to go a little deeper because something I've come to understand, even in my own life, is that it's not just about the fact that we came from broken homes, it's about how those experiences quietly followed us, how they shape the way we think, the way we feel, the way we react, even the way we see ourselves and other people. And the most interesting part is a lot of the time we don't even realize it. You can be going on about your life, growing, becoming better, doing all the right things, and then something happens. Maybe someone says something small and it triggers something big. Maybe someone pulls away a little and suddenly you feel anxious, unsettled, overthinking everything, or you react in a way that even surprises you. And later you are sitting there thinking, why did I respond like that? I've had moments like that. Moments where I genuinely thought I was okay. Moments where I think I had grown, like I had moved on, like certain things no longer affected me. But then life has a way of revealing what's still inside of you. And I remember times where I would feel things so deeply, so quickly, and I couldn't even fully explain it. It felt like my reaction was bigger than the situation in front of me. And that was confusing at first because I started to question myself, like, is this just who I am? Am I just so emotional? Am I overreacting? But over time, with more awareness, I started to realize something. Some of my reactions weren't coming from the present moment, they were coming from somewhere deeper, from things I hadn't fully processed, from emotions I didn't even know I was still carrying. And that is when it started to make sense because brokenness doesn't always show up in obvious ways. Sometimes it's hidden in our behaviors, in the way we respond to people, in the way we protect ourselves, in the way try to stay in control. For example, something like the fear of abandonment. And this one is so subtle sometimes. You might not even call it that, but it shows up in the way you think. You notice someone pulling away, and your mind immediately starts racing. Did I do something wrong? Are they upset with me? What if they leave? And even when there's no real evidence, the feeling is still there. Or you find yourself overthinking messages, reading too much into tone, into timing, into small details. And it's not because you are trying to be difficult, it's because somewhere along the way, maybe stability wasn't consistent for you. Maybe people left emotionally or physically. So now your mind is always trying to stay one step ahead, trying to protect you from experiencing that again. And then there is people pleasing. This is another one that can feel so normal. You don't even question it. You find it hard to say no. You go out of your way to make sure everyone else is okay, even when you're not. You feel responsible for how people feel. And deep down, there's this unspoken belief that if you keep people happy, they will stay. If you're good enough, they won't leave. They won't reject you. They won't hurt you. But the truth is, that's a heavy weight to carry because now your worth becomes tied to how well you can keep people satisfied. And then sometimes it goes the other way. Instead of overextending yourself, you withdraw, you shut down, you keep things inside, you avoid conflict, not because you don't care, but because expressing yourself doesn't feel safe. Maybe at some point in your life, your voice wasn't heard, or it led to more pain. So now silence feels safer. And then there were moments where everything you've been holding up in just comes out. Emotional outburst, where something small happens but your reaction feels so big. And in those moments, it's easy to judge yourself, to think, why am I like this? But what I'm learning is you're not too much. Something deeper is being touched, something that has been there for a long time. And I think this is where we need to pause because it's easy to listen to something like this and immediately feel heavy or even a bit exposed. But this is not about blaming yourself. This is not about labeling yourself. It's about understanding yourself. because awareness is where healing begins. And the truth is, a lot of these patterns didn't just appear randomly, they were formed as a way to cope, a way to survive. When you're in an environment where things are unstable, unpredictable, or emotionally draining, you learn to adapt. You learn what to do to avoid pain. You learn what to do to feel safe. And those patterns stay with you. But the challenge is, what helped you survive then might be limiting how you live now. And that realization can be very hard because it means you have to unlearn certain things. It means you have to look at yourself honestly. But at the same time, it's also freeing because it means you are not stuck. You are not just this way, you're learning, you're growing. And for me, this is where my relationship with God has become so real because I started to notice these patterns more clearly. Not in a way that made me feel condemned, but in a way that felt like I was being gently shown the truth. Like God was saying to me recently, He said, look at this particular aspect of your life. He did that not to shame me, but to heal me. And that changed everything because instead of hiding from those parts of myself, I started bringing them to Him. Honestly, without trying to have it all together, just saying, God, I don't fully understand why I react this way, but I know there's something deeper there. And slowly, He began to reveal things to me. Not all at once, but step by step. And I'm still in that process, still learning, still unlearning, still growing. So if you're listening to this and you're starting to recognize certain patterns in yourself, I just want you to take a moment. No pressure, no judgment. Just ask yourself, what do I notice about the way I react? What triggers me the most? And where might this be coming from? You don't have to figure everything out today. But just becoming aware is a powerful step. And more than anything, I want you to know this. You're not the problem. There are reasons behind the way you feel. There are reasons behind your reactions. And healing is possible. Not overnight, not perfectly, but it is possible. And you're not alone in this. We are walking this journey together. See you in the next episode.